Hey, witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Witch and the Tsar.
I like
We're
this
gonna
book.
finish, yeah, we're gonna finish part one today.
Yes, we are. So we left off at chapter 5, and where we left off, well, the interlude after chapter 5. But where we left off, we had really just met Koshi kind of, and we kind of like Koshi. And then there's this random bitch in the interlude that we're like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I
And
I
we go
think
to chapter
there's
6.
I think the girl from the interlude is the one causing all the issues. I think she's kind of orchestrating everything.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't help because I was see through. Um, okay, whatever, it'll fix itself. I think she's orchestrating everything. I think Koshi is not necessarily bad as we think he is. I don't think he's good. I think he's kind of like morally gray in a way where it's not necessarily after himself. I think he truly is like, he loves Russia so much that he wants what's best for her. And then I'm trying so hard. Nope. Okay. I think he loves Russia so much that he like doesn't know what, I don't know. I think he's getting involved in a way that he shouldn't be getting involved. And he's like unknowingly becoming a player
Yeah, I
in
have a
this
lot more
game.
opinions about Koshi after this, like
Yeah.
during this
I'm a
this
little back and forth still with it, honestly. But yeah, so chapter 6.
yeah. There wasn't a lot to say. The first thing I wrote about chapter 6 was Anastasia gets to, or she's been at the palace, right? But she hasn't seen Anastasia
Yaga.
yet. Yeah, Yaga. Sorry, Yaga gets to the palace, but she hasn't seen Anastasia yet, and she finally sees her, and she's been poisoned again. And Yaga is like, they're asking all of the servants and all of the ladies in waiting and all of that. They're asking them if they're loyal.
Yeah.
Well, of course they're all gonna say they're loyal. Like they're not gonna be like, "Nope, I'm the one poisoning her." Ha ha ha. Like
Like, don't
what?
worry, guys. Yeah.
So I don't know. What if you turn your camera off and turn it back on?
That's a good question, but we're recording. I don't think I can. Oh, wait. Yeah, I can.
Nope. Okay. But yeah, so they're asking all the people, and I'm like, of course they're all gonna fucking say that they're loyal. But there are these two people, Alexi and
Sylvester.
Sylvester, that for some undisclosed reason are on the Tsar shit list.
Yeah,
So,
they're like exiled. Sylvester was the priest. So basically he's like Rasputin.
then
He
yeah,
was
and
like
he's been sent to a
a monastery.
monastery,
And
and
then
Alexi is on house arrest.
yeah, at some house far away in the woods.
And the only person allowed near the Tsar right now is Konstantin Bianovich,
Bayevich.
Bayevich. Um, and
Bayanovich.
that is Koshi. So, yeah.
And um all she wants is just truly she poor Yaga, she just wants to help somebody and she's getting in the middle of it all and it's
She
not
really is.
doing well for her.
Yeah,
And
and so oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and this Kira bitch, what's her name?
Mhm.
Kira,
The lady in waiting.
yeah, Kira Armikonova. La, 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 la. See, this is what happens when I look away from the word. Armikovna this bitch is like hates everything that Yaga is doing.
Yeah, she's
And
very
it like at this point we should have been like her. It's definitely her.
I felt like it was too obvious. I even
Right?
wrote that. I wrote in a couple chapters, I don't think it's Kira. But um in this chapter, so Anastasia has tasked like mice and cats. Not Anastasia, why do I keep doing that? Yaga has tasked mice and cats, like various animals, to kind of trail Anastasia and to watch after her to make sure that nothing out of the ordinary is happening.
Yeah, kind of like to give her like an insider glimpse of
Who's
what,
coming around?
yeah, like the is this normal? Is this out of the normal? Is this person who's never been here this week? Like, is this new?
Yeah. Um, and then on the last page of this chapter, she goes back to her room to get her cloak to go because Anastasia asked her to go with her to the city. And when she gets back to her room, the cat and mice are strung up and hanging from my bed frame, their bellies slashed and exposed. Blood dripped down the green hanging in black streaks collecting at the foot of the bed. So somebody caught her little helpers and killed them all and hung them from her bed frame, which is just, I'm imagining like a canopied bed
Yeah.
and they're hanging from the canopy,
Yeah, because I
like the
think
end of
later
the
on,
canopy.
yeah, I think later on she like has like a dream and she wakes up from that dream. And in that dream, or after that dream, she talks about like pulling away the like curtains and all that from her bed. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's at that point, that's when she said this was not an ordinary poison or some envious lady in waiting or vengeful admirer. No, this was someone entirely without empathy or remorse and possibly deranged. On top of that, so then at this point, you're like, oh, deranged. I like how the author put that in there because like it's making us think it's people, and it it's giving us like a specific type of person,
Yeah.
and it's somebody that we obviously don't know yet, or like that we are aware of. Like we obviously don't know who the person is. But, it's making us, like I'm thinking Koshi at this point
Right.
because I'm thinking deranged, like, he has no heart, so he's gotta have no empathy, and the kinda empathy that he would have is a specific type of empathy, and if he thinks that this is against Russia, then this is something that he would probably do, um,
I was
but it's
thinking since we know that down the road this Ivan becomes Ivan the Terrible, I was thinking it might be him.
well, this is something that he did as a child. I think that's what it alluded to, like, when we first start meeting him before, like, he met his wife,
Yeah.
Anastasia. She softened him, so, like, this is kinda something that he did do, like, he tortured animals in the forest. So I thought so too. I was like, "Yeah, this could be something Ivan would do because this is kinda what he did as a child," but I was actually thinking more along the lines of, like, this is a magical thing. How would they
Oh,
know these
that those
mice and the
yeah,
specific cat?
that's fair. That's very
And
fair.
Ivan to me is just an ordinary man.
I
So
would agree with that.
I was thinking Koshi. But, I mean, it's somebody that you're not expecting. It's, like, right out from underneath your nose.
Mhm. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, yeah, so chapter 7.
Chapter 7. Chapter 7, there's a feast, and Yaga, much like I would, is like, "Is this fucking feast over yet? These fucking people, I'm so annoyed." Like, and so she's like grinding herbs under the fucking table because she's like, "I got other shit to do." Okay. Um, and
And I love that, like, she basically calls the monarchy or, like, the imperial family in, like, its court, in a way, savages, like, not outright savages, but savages in a way because she
mhm,
describes how they're taking food and how they're eating it, like, she's disgusted that they have
Yeah.
unclean hands and they're just ripping apart
Yeah, and she sees someone
food
pull
pieces.
a knife out of their boot and cut the food with it.
Yeah, there's, like, no utensils, no nothing, so she's sitting there like, "Ugh."
Yeah, valid. But she's, like, doing her own thing under the table, and she's not paying attention, and all of a sudden, like, Ivan is kind of yelling at her because they're doing a toast to the Tsar, and as Yaga was not paying attention, and so
She
she
wasn't
didn't
toasting.
stand. Um, and she's like, "The truth is, I was considering your proposition for a husband and decided I have no need of one. Men are no mystery to me. In fact, I know what every man here is thinking." And so, like, she puts on this whole, like, show basically of how, like, she's trying to put on a show of magic to stay in Ivan's good graces. And she's like telling him that the god is telling her how to read men. But really, she's just observant. Like, the first guy, his jaw is clenched and his mouth is puckered, like, in pain. And so she's like, he is thinking about his tooth that hurts very much. And then she remembers, like, gossip she had heard earlier and says that. And, like, so she's just really observant. She's not actually doing any magic, but they're all like, oh my God.
Because no one's denying it either,
Yeah. Like, she's
which is the
right.
funniest part. Because it's like, this is your chance to deny it, and if you think
Yep.
ill of her, then why aren't you saying something?
Mhm. Um, and so basically she appeases him with that, and he's like, "Okay, um, but you do have to get a kokoshnik," which is like the headdress thing, right?
Mhm.
Um, because it's not proper to go around with no to go around bareheaded is what he says.
Yeah, because he said, "What do you ask in return for sharing our Lord God's wisdom with us?" And she basically just said, like, "That I leave as I arrived, without
Yeah,
a
don't make me
husband."
have a husband.
Yeah, and I also don't want a new cross because, like, obviously reasons, but, like, she says that she's averse to, like, worldly riches, and so he's like, "Alright, that's fine. However, you are going to do this because that's customary here, and it's not right."
Mhm.
And it's like, "Oh."
All right, fine. Concessions. We can compromise. Um, but then she goes back to her room, and this is where Koshi starts to like, ugh, I start
Yeah,
to
this is kinda like this is where the gray
yeah,
area
it's
starts
gross.
becoming more and
I
more
literally
black.
wrote for page 75, okay, gross, because he's basically like, um,
He's talking about and he's not outright talking about another, bet or, um, game of sort between the 2 of them, but she is intrigued by that idea, and so she goes, "What are
if I agreed,
you
what would be
talking
the
ab"
price?
Yeah, like and he said, "Once wasn't enough, dear Yaga."
Blech.
Talking about talking about the time that they had sex, and, that pissed her off. She was like, "Nope, absolutely not. Good luck. Have fun. I don't care."
Yeah.
Um, but he he's, like, getting kind of not necessarily jealous. I somewhat think he's more jealous of her. No, let me rephrase that. I think he's more jealous of the Tsar getting her attention and, like, the family getting her attention rather
Mm,
than
than him having her attention.
because because, like, she alludes to, like, "You're jealous because the Tsar has me in his good graces, that I'm getting more favor from him at this time due to whatever I did at the feast." I partially think it's that. I mean, maybe a little mixture of that because, like, what if she does something that's not right for Russia? Like, obviously, there's probably something a little bit there for him too, but I personally think he's more jealous because she's not giving him the light of day, but she's entertaining the Tsar, someone
Yeah.
that she's never cared to entertain before.
Right, and I think
Um,
Bushy is, like, a person that like, he always has an ulterior motive, so he can't accept or believe the fact that she doesn't. She's truly
yeah.
just there to help Anastasia, and but he's like, "You're trying to take the Tsar from me," like, she's
Yeah,
like, "I
he's
don't
kinda
give a
getting
fuck."
paranoid, like, this
Yeah,
and so, like, yeah, he basically alludes that he's jealous of her, but I think it's more like he's worried for Russia.
yeah,
But I think he is actually jealous of the Tsar himself and maybe the Tsaritsa because of the favor that she is and the, like, time and effort that she's offering to them, and that's something that he alludes that he wants, but, like, he hasn't necessarily shown it. He says
yeah.
he says it, but
Well, and he just I don't know, just very ugh men. That's the last thing I wrote about this chapter was ugh men
and it's
because
frustrating too. They could be such a good pair, like, ally.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
his, like, paranoia, jealousy, and, like, her refusal I mean, I understand her refusal to work with him, but, like, also,
Yeah.
he's got a great in with the Tsar, like, swallow your pride for just 5 seconds if this is gonna save her.
Yeah, and he's basically like, "You won't fuck with me, you won't stay away from the Tsar, so you're my enemy." Like, okay,
Yeah.
we went from 5 seconds ago, you wanting into my bed, to now I'm your enemy.
Yeah.
Your ego got hurt.
Now you're pissy.
Yeah. Ew.
So
And that's
this is
what
the,
chapter
like
7.
yeah, this is the what the fuck.
And then chapter 8, I say again, ugh, men, because the Tsar is
It's so crazy how, like I don't know, I was getting very, I don't wanna say triggered. But, like, I was getting very, like, ick from this because it reminds me of today's time and what America's going through. Like, "Oh, I'm God's
mhm,
chosen. I'm this, I'm that." And it's like, it's crazy what you feed to somebody as a child, as they are raised and as they like, you are God's chosen or, like, the imperial just the idea that you are God's chosen, kinda like in
yeah,
Egyptian folklore and myth and all of that. The pharaoh is God's vessel. It's just
uh-huh,
it's irksome because this right here, this kind of mentality and acting and, like, full of yourself behavior is all because of that, and it's
yeah,
and I personally think it's just because, the president, no one loved him as a child.
probably true.
I mean, this one wasn't loved as a child, he was picked on as a child because of his parents dying early.
Yeah. I do like, though, that she kind of puts him in his place because she says he's coming to ask her for help, basically, or to ask her to read him.
Yeah, she is summoned in the church, basically.
And she says, "If you truly desire my help, come to me as a man in a fit of despair you cannot bear without your crown and your jewels. Only then will I be able to read you." So she basically is like, "Come to me as yourself, not all this pomp and circumstance, and then
Mhm.
I'll read you." And he does. He has what I'm assuming is a dream where he sees his dead son, um, and then comes to her, and then
Yeah,
she does
because
her
he's, like,
witchy shit.
scared. Yeah.
Yeah. She gives him, like, a tonic, and she does a ritual to, like, help send the spirit on. But after that night of her helping him, he starts to seek her out for various things. Um,
Which is so weird to me.
yeah. And it's not, like, rapey, it's not that kind of things, it's truly, like, witchcraft and spiritual advice
Yeah.
kind of things. But when he calls for her, she's expected to drop everything, even Anastasia. So even if she's there trying to help Anastasia, who is continuing to be poisoned, she can't. She has to drop everything. And on page 81, this is the first time I think that it's mentioned. She like takes her unicorn horn and goes around everything, like all of Anastasia's makeup and everything in the room. The only thing she notices that's like out of ordinary is a couple of dead spiders. And the first time I was like, "Oh, that's gross. Her maids need to clean better." And that's only the first time it's said, but it's said multiple times over the rest of this chapter.
Yeah. It's something that you should be like not considering, but
But it is significant later. So on page 82, she's basically like the only person that she has a feeling about or like an instinct about is Kira. But I wrote I
yeah,
don't think it's Kira.
I just think it's Kira being like a bitch. But I
Yeah.
also said the same thing about whatever her character name was in we just fucking read it.
Hemlock and
Hemlock and
Silver.
Silver. Yeah.
The nurse or the
The
lady.
nurse.
Yeah.
The nurse. That's who it was. The nurse.
Yeah. And that's all. Oh, and then the last part of that chapter is just I've been talking to her and being paranoid. And the significant part of that is the very last sentence says, in a fit of misplaced paranoia, he could turn against anyone, even me. Ba ba ba.
Really could though. And that's something that like nobody understands. Like anyone can turn against you at any moment. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And like when it's a Tsar, fuck are you gonna do about it? Like,
Yeah. Be careful.
right. And so that's the end of chapter 8. So during this interlude, we finally get a name for this mysterious being. Um,
Yeah, because in the interlude it opens up with the Lady of Death sits on her blackened throne. So it's like, okay, Lady of Death. And then at this point I was thinking, okay, is this the wife of Valos? Because like Lady of Death seems like a very I mean, we learn her name because she's trying to figure it out herself, but like the Lady of Death feels like a very apt name for the wife of the Lord of the Underworld.
yeah, it does. Um, I'm assuming it's Celica. Am I wrong? Or is Celica? Celica?
It's Celica, yeah.
Okay. Um, and she's just kind of grumpy and waiting, but we find out that she, if she goes to the world tree and takes the soul as it's coming through the tree into her domain, then she can absorb it. What
Yeah,
is, how
get
do they work it?
I think it's literally
She
absorb it.
drinks in the flicker of light
Mhm.
and it like makes her younger.
'Cause
Is
she's
Rapunzel a Russian tale?
no German.
Oh, just very Mother Gothel kind of
Yeah.
vibes. And
I
that's
think
the
that's
end.
just the Disney version.
Yeah.
I say I don't think Rapunzel even had that ability.
No, I don't think she did. I think they just had to have a villain in there.
Yeah, 'cause I think in Rapunzel, the, like, prince falls from the tower, lands
Yeah,
in bushes, and becomes, like, blind,
I think you're correct.
and then wanders the woods until she runs into him.
Yeah,
And that was after he f or the witch found out she was pregnant with twins.
yeah,
So,
I think you're right. Something like that. Anyway,
yeah, chapter
chapter
9.
9. So this immediately, I was like, immediately no. Immediately fucking no. So Anastasia asks Yaga to take a note to Alexei because she's heard a rumor that he's going to be released from his house arrest and he's kind of unstable and she wants him to have hope. Um, and because Yaga can't say no to Anastasia, she agrees. Um, and she's like, I feel like this is a trap. I feel like this is a trap. But she does not listen to her instinct and she goes. Um, and there are just a fuck ton of people in his house.
Sick people too.
Yeah, like sick people covered in sores and welts, blah, 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 blah. And like, who the fuck are all these people? Um, well, turns out they are, um,
He calls them peasants because it's like a sick house.
yeah, it's basically a sick house and he's just helping them all. Um,
Because they can't leave, so what else is it gonna do?
right. And it's like an opulent house, like it's like a manor. So like he can help them. So why not? Um, but he is saying that Konstantin Bayanovich will destroy all of Mother Russia and that, um, or will encourage Ivan to do so. And he wants to kill Koshi, Konstantin. Um,
Which is just so weird because all of this, including the having to go here to make all of these things, and then him saying that stuff about Koshi, it just is like this makes me think that Koshi is doing all of this.
right. And then she goes back to the palace or whatever they call it. Yeah, palace. And she goes to talk to Anastasia to find out who gave her that misleading information about Alexei's release and finds out that she is not on the list of approved persons to see Her Majesty any longer.
Dun dun dun.
Yep. And that is the end of chapter 9. Chapter 9 was really short. So is chapter 10, honestly. Chapter 10 is a dream. Um,
She's kind of
it's
reliving the night her mother perished.
yes.
So kind of walks through the whole like running to the house, running to where her mother or her house is, and saying like there's no slamming of doors, there's no animals making noises, there's no chatter, there's no sense in the air except for like smoke, and like she can't breathe. Um and then she finally gets to the house, and then the wolf Dien is there, and Dien says like she's gone, she's not there, or she's not here anymore. Um and then when she searches for her mother, she sees the medallion that her mother never took off that had the world tree on it, and a line of rings that adorn her fingers, um, basically signifying that this right here is where she perished.
Yep.
Um, but what's different than what happened in real life is that at this point, she actually witnesses her mother on a horse, um, talking to her. Um, and then she says, um, what is it? Yeah, her mother has a wreath crowning of wheat and tiny blue blossoms. The seraphim, hedge green with embroidery, glinting like the sun, yet no sun shows in the still black smoky sky. Um, my heart sinks when I notice the ravens and mother's upturned palms. Yaga, she says, "Do not despair, Yaga. It is not my death you should be worried about." And then as she says, "Where are you? Whose death?" That's when she like frost crystals form on her wreath, and that's when she just kind of like goes inanimate at that point,
Yep.
including the horse, everything around her except for the ravens.
And they fly toward her and like peck and claw at her.
So,
Foreshadowing.
yeah. So she's kind of wondering if her mother is actually alive somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think she's alive. I think she's like
Yeah.
sending a message from the afterworld or afterlife.
Yeah. I don't think she's alive
Um,
either, but
and just kind of protecting her in her own way. Um, and then that's when she wakes up.
well, first there's
Well,
an interlude.
yeah, never mind.
um, and the interlude is just Celica kind of talking about her past a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
how she's been imprisoned her whole life, and um she she's told that she's dangerous, so she has to stay in these caves and she can't go out of them because she is of Chernobog, of darkness. And she is the lady of rebirth. She can be reborn. And she says, "As what?" And they say, "A monster." And it says, "You will be
So,
most dangerous when you drown."
and it's just weird because you're saying all of this to a child that has never known like her parents, basically.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't
But
explicitly say her parents are Chernobog and whoever,
yeah, it just says you are of
because,
Chernobog.
yeah, because that's what Koshi is too. Koshi's of Chernobog.
Yeah. But it does I feel like it says them telling her you will be the most dangerous when you drown, and Yaga dreaming about it is not my death you need to worry about. I feel like
Yeah.
it's Celica's death
Mm-hmm.
that Yaga needs to worry about. But that's the interlude, and then it's chapter 11.
I do like the idea that Celica is just like an abused child, and this is what happens when abused children grow up to be the villain. I do enjoy like a really good like villain background story, but I
Mhm.
also really like it's a refresher when the villain is just
A
a
victim.
dick. Eh,
Oh, that
No, not
too.
even. Like it's just like, dang, nothing bad happened to you. You're just a dick.
You just
Kind of
suck.
like
Okay.
I don't want to say like Zayden or Zayd, not Zayden, Zayd from Haunting Adeline. He's not necessarily a dick, but he also had a good relationship with his parents, and
Right.
he's just murders, rapist, and
As a
all of that
vigilante.
for fun. So like I mean, that's it's like, all right, you're a psychology
Well, I got somebody to add
test.
to his list if he were real. I got somebody to send his way.
We got a list. We got files to go through. We got lists, man.
I
But
forgot I didn't forget about that, but that's not even what I meant. I got somebody in my own life, a couple people that could be added to his list.
oh well, damn. Well, okay. Well, we'll give him the list. We'll give him our list and then that list, and then
Yeah.
here you go. But
Anyway,
anyways,
chapter 11, she wakes up.
and she's kind of um not she's choking on smoke in the air.
Yeah, and so she she's thinking and she's like, "Is my mother not as dead as I previously believed, but trapped in some place not of this world?" And then she realizes that she has like a ringing in her ears and it is an alarm and she's choking on smoke because there's a fire.
So I guess the Kremlin in like the hot summer months, they have fires often.
Yeah. This whole rest of this with the fires and everything was like really confusing.
Yeah, like we never heard about this at once or at all, and then all of a sudden it's like a huge part of the plot in a way.
Yeah.
So basically, she runs out to try to figure out what the hell is happening, and she's also trying to get to the to the Saritsa, and come to find out, the fire began in her palace, and or like where she and her sons live, basically. So she's trying to figure out like where she is. Is she safe? Is she fine? And then she looks over and sees the Tsar, and Ivan stares at her with such hatred
Mhm.
that he like continues to fight the fires, and she is, like, about to run up to him and, like,
Then there's Koshi.
ask. Yeah, and then Koshi comes out of nowhere, grabs her, yanks her back, and starts talking to her.
He's like, "I beg you to leave court, Yaga. Save yourself before it's too late." And like she's like, "From what? I can't tell you. This is all larger than you and me. What's larger than us?" And he says, "We are immortals. We will go on when they will not, and we care for one another. At least I care for you. Trust me when I say you need to leave. Tell me why, and I'll go." Like,
Right? Well, and it's frustrating too because he sits there and says that he cares for her and like deeply and fondly. And it's like, okay, but you're not telling me why. If you know me and have cared for me deeply and fondly for as many years as you claim to have done that, you would know that I cannot leave.
right, exactly. And he's like, "Just know I've tried to warn you. I will tell you where she is if you wish it." And she said, "I do wish it." And that's the end of chapter 13 or chapter 11. The fuck? Chapter 12 now. Okay. Um, so she rushes to the Anastasia's new quarters at the Kremlin, and she's helping her, and then all of a sudden
She
she goes
sees a
back to her own
mossy.
room to get some.
Wait, you're forgetting the one thing.
Oh wait, what's the one thing?
Before she leaves to go get her shit to help Anastasia, because she's clearly been poisoned again, she notices a muddy, mossy footprint
Oh
that's like
yeah,
greenish tint on the
yeah.
floor right next to her, and it's like there's something green on her neck as well.
Hmm. Yes, but then she leaves to go get her stuff, like to help her um pull the poison out. And when she gets back to her chamber, she's like running and not really paying attention. And by the time she notices it's too late, there are guards and they arrest her.
Hmm. And Koshi is reading her, I guess, arrest thing. She's accused of various acts of treason. She calls him Koshi. Koshi's like, there's no one here by that name. And then he goes on. The crimes you have accused are firstly, plotting against us and seeking to dispose our most illustrious lord and master. And then he goes through like all the damn. Here's the problem.
He's got 1,700 names.
And half the names are literally just cities that he's conquered or cities that he's emperor over.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
By means of magic and
yeah,
conspiring with our Lord Tsar's enemies, Alexei
Fjord,
Fyodorovich and
Fyodorovich.
Sylvester.
Yeah. Um, so she
And
knew at that point like what she had feared had come true.
yeah, it was all a
Um,
trap.
Secondly, applying to overthrow the Orthodox faith and replace it with paganism by undermining our church's laws. Thirdly, applying against the Grand Princess and Tsaritsa of Russia, Anastasia Romanova, Zakharina, oh, Jesus Christ, Zaharina, you're, God damn it, Yurieva, by means of spellcasting, magic charms, demonic potions. And so she's like getting pissed. She goes, I'm trying to fucking save her.
Yeah.
And then the person, of course, who saw her go to this person,
Is
Kira.
Kira.
And
Fucking
apparently
Kira.
she was there for 10 minutes. And I'm sitting here like, how the fuck did Kira see her? Like, is Kira fucking lying? I mean, she's not lying because she was there, but like, how the fuck does she know she was there for so long?
Yeah. And also with all of this, fuck you, Koshi. Because
Yeah.
all of this because I wouldn't fuck you?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, and I wouldn't leave, and I am helping one person instead of all of Russia. Fuck you, bro.
Right. Because, like, you can't tell me that he couldn't have influenced this to go a different way. But no, he is playing along and he is taking part in arresting her. Fuck you. But that's the end of chapter 12.
Mhm. Yay. Um, all right. So that was like July 15th, give or take. Yeah, July 15th. Now it's July 23rd.
Yes. Um,
So where is she at?
she's in a sale.
Yeah, she's in a cell. And she's wondering why she even got involved because Anastasia didn't betray her, but people involved with Anastasia helped Anastasia betray her.
Yeah.
So she's like, she was my only true friend. She's the only mortal I ever cared about and wanted to help and cure. And this is what happens when I got involved.
Mhm. I only wrote one thing about this entire chapter. Um, and it was that my brain is really struggling to accept the fact that Yaga's not going to save Anastasia.
Yeah,
Because at this point, like, we don't know that, but
it's
it's
implied.
it's pretty clear that Anastasia's gonna die, and my happily ever after brain was really struggling to wrap itself around that.
I had a feeling that Anastasia would never survive just because real life history, the real
Right.
Anastasia died.
Yeah.
I think they said she died by like drowning.
Well, and
Or
I
not
kind of
drowning.
assumed that, like, this is the story like, I kind of assumed that this is, like, Baba Yaga's origin story, like, this is her villain
Yeah.
origin story. So, like, in my head, this was her like, that she Anastasia had to die for her to become Baba Yaga. But that's all I wrote for
Okay.
that chapter. Do you have anything else for chapter 13?
I literally only have one thing left for the entire episode.
Oh, okay. Well, then we have the interlude, and I'm assuming that this is where your next comment comes in, maybe not?
Yep.
Yeah, because, we find out that it is Kira that is poisoning Anastasia. Um,
Anastasia was 30 years old, by the way.
that's younger than me. Um, so
Right.
Kira's blood is poisonous to anyone but her.
And
Um,
that's Kira's the one.
poisoning Anastasia. That's what
Yeah.
the mossy green footprint and the green speck on Anastasia's collar were from.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I was like, what the fuck is she? Because so her lifeblood is like sap. Um, and then she goes and she takes a bath. Um, and it dispels her disguise. So a green tinge creeps up her graying hair, which grows disheveled, her skin wrinkling and her back hunching. And she eats spiders and bugs throughout this whole interlude. And I'm just like, what the fuck is she?
I think she's like a. Well, she talks about being of the swamp, and if her blood's sap,
Yeah.
I think she's like a tree.
Like a nymph, kind of, question mark. But
Yeah.
nymphs are Greek, I guess. So, but something similar probably. Um, and then there is a section of that interlude where the Tsar is like, Yaga needs to be killed for killing the queen. Um, and Koshi is trying to talk him out of it. Um, And Koshi, he's like, "No, she will die." And Koshi's like, "What if she doesn't?" Like, and then the Tsar, Ivan says, "Then I shall kill her with my bare hands." And then it's
I
chapter
shall do
14.
it.
Chapter
Yeah,
14 is
so
like a couple weeks later.
we're starting to see the differences of things and how um events are starting to take place all across Russia. I'm gonna grab a snack before I get sick. One second. The baby says it
Okay.
hungry.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just keep talking since I have more to say, and that was your last thing about it. So, chapter 14, um, so he's in that thing, he was like, she'll die by conflagration, which is burning. And I assumed he meant like burnt at the stake. But then I was wondering because there's another fire in her building, and I have two thoughts about this, two theories, I guess. One, did they burn the prison she was in to kill her? That one seems a little far fetched though, because that's wasteful. The other theory there is that someone started that fire so she could escape. Maybe Koshi, maybe Dien or Notch. Um, but Dien does come into her cell and save her as the building is burning. And that's really all I wrote about chapter 14. I was like, first I wrote, did Ivan have them burn the building to kill her? And then I wrote, okay, no, did someone start this fire to help her escape? And I think it's that one. I don't know if it was Koshi, but I think it was that one. Then on chapter 15, because all of these main characters have Gryffindor energy, um, this bitch is like trying to go back to fucking Anastasia at first. But then she finds out, um, or not, she's not trying to go back to, or no, she is trying to go back to Anastasia. And then she finds out that Anastasia has died and she loses it. Um, and
Yeah, because she
she,
promised her all these things and
yeah,
she can't do anything on the
she
promises now.
didn't save her. And so she's like holding herself accountable for that and like feeling really shitty about it. And then there's, she feels also guilty because Anastasia's dying wish was that she would protect her two sons. And obviously now, like, she's a fugitive, so she can't do that.
Mhm.
Um, and so she is like, okay, um, I'm gonna go try to figure out what is happening in Russia. She's going to try to reach the gods, perhaps even attempt to find her mother to discover what was happening in Russia, what the unknown forces were, and why they had targeted my Anastasia, what the future held for the country, for Ivanushka, and for me. And so she's leaving Moscow. And then this interlude was just fucking confusing. It really confused me. Um,
All of it confused me.
well, I don't know, like, this was just a really, like, almost like a fever dream. Like, Ivan is drunk either with grief or just,
Maybe a mixture.
yeah, and just acting a fucking fool. Um, but during that, Morozko, which is the god of Lord of Winter, question mark,
Mhm.
um, is there and he's like watching everything happen. And he is thinking of the priest Sylvester alone in his cell when he stopped his heart, and the handsome boyar's son Alexei too, frozen just like the priest. And as he glides toward the door, um, but he's like he wants to stay and engage in frivolity with these mortal men, but he will not waste a minute of his precious time in Moscow on idleness. Um, and so we don't know what he's going to do next, but he basically becomes Elsa and touches the floor and turns the floor into an ice skating rink, and that's the end of part 1 of this book, which we're,
Yeah.
like, cranking through this book, like, we're
Mhm.
at least a fourth, if not a little more than a fourth of the way through this book.
We're getting close.
Yeah, we are. We're flying. And actually, it's ends like, the author's note is really long at the end because 'cause it's got a lot of, like, historical stuff in it, so, yeah. Anywho,
Cool. Well, and that is the end of part 1. Next time we will start with chapter 16 and the start of part 2. Um,
it's getting
and we'll go
good.
from we'll go from there. So, until next time.
Bye.